never heard from again. This is fantasy. You say you would not act like that, and no astronaut ever would. Perhaps none, but this is the way most men live their lives here on earth. Most men spend their days struggling to invade three questions, the answers to which the handly man is every thought, feeling, and fiction, whether he is consciously aware of it or not. Where am I? How do I know it? What should I do? By the time they are old enough to understand this question, men believe that they know the answers. Where am I? Say in the New York City. How do I know it? It's self evident. What should I do? Here they are too. Here they are not too sure. But the usual answer is whatever everybody does, the only trouble seems to be that they are not very active, only to man, but it applies to every aspect of man's life. His characters, his action, his values, his relationships to all of existence, ethics or morality defines a code of values to guide man's choices and action. The choices and actions that determine the course of his life. Just as the astronaut in my story did not know what he should do.
Not been around at the moment, but this is a text which is very important. It's not academic, it's not philosophical so much as one, but maybe for the rules of our reading, we are going to invite each and every one what you understand and what you must know. There is no wrong perception or thinking. Everything you think according to what it has been read, what you've read, your interpretation is going to make us enriched and able to understand oba gasobola okutegeera what life is. And I will give you a brief philosophy. Who needs this? Philosophy is just maybe a Latin word from philo, which is knowledge, okumanya, knowledge. How do you know that you are a girl? How do you know if you are a boy? We get to know that we are a boy by the genital features, not so? And then we get to know that we are girl because of the genital features. But then we ask ourselves, some people keep on asking themselves, okay, why didn't they call the boy a boy? Because he has some genital features, which now today they call for the girls. So something like that. But before I invite each and everyone who want to be free, Joram is back. I don't know if Joram I can hand over. You were not around, and I just wanted to. We shouldn't. People have read this, but we shouldn't go and end up with reading. But if I can hand back to you, so that you take over.
Teacher, we shall discuss the philosophy of Ayn Rand, and her philosophy is called Objectivism. And here, as you look at the topic, he was asking, do someone need philosophy? You get? Philosophy, who needs it? We need philosophy. And what is philosophy? Philosophy is just the study of man and his surrounding, how we live our lives, our behavior in the society. It is a study of the big question about man and his surrounding. What is life? Who am I? How should I live my life? How should the society be governed? Are my behaviors good or bad? How should I behave? Should I sacrifice myself for other people? Should I live a life helping other people when my things are going bad? So that is what exactly. And Ayn Rand was saying that some of us live a life of delusion. We don't know where we are, what we are at. We don't ask what do we want in life. We don't ask ourselves those questions. What do we want to achieve? Do we have plan for our lives? So he was saying in that paragraph, in that message, what is your plan? How are you supposed to live your life? You get? And he was saying that a man boarded, is it an astronaut that boarded an airplane or a Chizungirizi, was going somewhere, but he reached somewhere. So we came into life, and we are in life, we reach a certain step in our lives, but we don't know where we are. Do you want to live like that? For example, if I'm very hungry, I have my bread, I don't expect to get another person, and I see a stranger, someone I don't know. Should I peel that last bread and give it to the stranger? So Ayn Rand is saying, you should be selfish enough, you should cater for your life. And Ayn Rand says, your life is the most important project you have to take care of in life. That is the biggest project. To make yourself happiness is the biggest virtue that you can achieve, the most important virtue for your life. Thank you.
Njagala buli omu abe nga kirwa, because this is life. And you should, before I invite each and everyone to think about this, our major attack on this text is to ask what is inside our mind and where have we been. There is one great wise man who wrote that whenever we are born free, but we live our life in chains, because the life we live is defined by others. And I will give you a testimony. When I was born, I grew up in a Christian family, and the best way to praise my parents was to go to the church, was to, every time when I come back, to talk about Jesus. And but to Mange said they could send us to go and buy sugar. During our years, a kilogram of sugar was at around 2,000, 2,500. And it could change today. Ogende nchano sanga sukari yesazaze ku 2 kilo. And what could happen? They send you for the half or a quarter, because we are coming, person I was coming from a very humble family. And then you find a quarter of sugar ngeri ku 5. Nenga bakuwade lusambu. But then you say naye bangambye ndi mulokole. The best way to protect you from deceiving them was to tell you you are oli muntu wa Mukama. And I could say, okay, mbadde ngenda zitwala nzagala ebibiri naye a believer, I'm a Christian. And then I could bring back the money, and then I say, I wanted to use this money for my sweets, but you told me Jesus is seeing me, so I should behave very well because Jesus is seeing me. And then I took my philosophy to be that there is a superpower which is seeing me. And then I should behave very well because the hell. And then I said, okay, that. And I lived that life of fear because I was told by my parents that when you don't behave very well, at a certain point you will go to hell because there is high power. But when I landed, I was at university and I landed to some of the literature of people and said, why do we behave very well? We don't behave very well because we want to be in heaven. But there are sets of values. Ebintu byolondawo nogamba when neeyisa obulungi I achieve this. Why somewhere in this text it said the liberation biki ebikubikulirwa byotya. And I like we shall dig deeper into this philosophy. And afterward I start changing. If I behave very well, who benefits? Wewe so bulungi ani asinga okufunamu, it's me. If I relate very well with you and so, who benefits? It's me. So that's where I started defining how do I live? Where am I? Where do I want to be? What is this? And that formed a framework which could guide my life. Obulamu bwo obuyisawo otya. And then that framework mu Luzungu kye bayita philosophy. If I dress let me say a trouser, and then it gives me comfort, it gives me happiness, then in the nearby neighbor will say, oyo mwana ayambadde empale. What happens? Then in the next 2 days, I will fear because of the judgment of the other. Kubanga oli values ezo zigamba empale sinungi gyendi. Then he's going to oversat that. So basically, this lady was writing. I just want to invite you, because this is our rules of the reading process. How do I know where we are, where I want to be, and what it is? In the most life in our community, I will give you an example. I was contesting for an office. Many people, 1,000 of them, believe that if Mugabe wins, our life is going to be better. We shall get this opportunity. But then, they did not have the exact knowledge. How is he going to make our life better? And then that's how we judge politicians. But then, because many in our community have no values, have not set a framework or a philosophy which guide their life, so they end up jumping from one belief to another. But when she sets a very good precedent, this was a military school, people were graduating, and these are people who are going to be soldiers in America, and she gave a very good example. Imagine omuntu agenze mu kyombo gy'atamanyi. Why she used that astronaut? Because if you go in space, you end up in a place which you don't know. So she gave an example of a person or anything who went in the special shuttle, then reaches somewhere. Then the special shuttle gets some mechanical problem or land somewhere. Then omuntu ono ne yeebuuza, how am I going to get back where I'm from? So do this person sit and pray? Or the mind, the faculty of the mind starts saying, Chichi chenda, but then you have to interpret very fast. Chenda ba chigenda kundya oba techigenda kundya. Whatever you do in your life, is it influenced by emotion? I will give you this example. I'm a person who, whatever. Assume you go with a girl and emotion, feeling in ezikufuga, you start kissing that girl. Then who gets sense that what young about to record, what young about to. Then the person who is not using feeling, who is using reason, is going to say, "Negoti, man, is not love." That is the reason. Then the person, because you are driven by feeling, emotion, you go and commit suicide. But then the person who uses reasoning will say, no, should we first examine where we are? Is it the right thing? So that's basically philosophy. It lenses. But I know everyone has read this text. We have its book. Our major reading group is not to influence. Kati amembugaze waliwo abantu agamba ha netunaliri alina amala ngandaba matono. So something is like that. Then that's always the reason. He said no gajja tumala ekyo kansuka enkirekesi kyekyandese. So something like that reason. But so this lady was very unique, and as I speak today, she influenced United States of America. And America from the 19th century, it has been able to create a lot of wealth, a lot of good life, and a lot of happiness. How lost is these people? We are not going to be uniform. And that's why God created the devil. Yalina obusobozi obukuleetinga n'abeerawo yekka. Naye amanya nsigenda kuba mugezi nnyo singa neesigaliza. They can create and checking. So the reasoning may say, whether she's a Muslim, whether she's an Anglican, or she's not a believer, where is a win-win situation.
Naye ate tulina okukozesa obwongo, tulina okubeera kwegamba mu decisions zetugenda okukola, tulina okusooka ne tureasoninga ne tulaba kino kye tugenda okusalawo kituufu oba si kituufu. For example, tuyinza okugamba yes tweyagaliza naye ate mu bantu b'olimu b'owangaaliramu obalaze otya kubanga kuno okweyagaliza okungi ennyo n'olaga nze buli kimu nkyagala kozesa amagezi amazaale newankubadde yes okyagala naye funa engeri gy'oyinza okiyisaawo ne kitakosa n'okiganyulwamu ate era ne kitakosa abantu b'oli nabo okusooka okukozesa to think twice before acting.
And sometimes our cultures, the cultural sentiments comes in and also influences. Sometimes our reasoning and our perception, so many other things. So I may somehow differ from the writer of this particular article. I don't know that it's an article writing.
Where specifically?
Almost entirely. Okay. Because one, sometimes our reasoning is being influenced by our cultures.
Exactly.
So sometimes we are not allowed to. Most of our cultures are not allowed to speak cynical words. So once like you want to slide off and talk, speak something of the cynical, you may say, oh, please, you know what? The culture does not allow us to do this. Yeah. Sometimes in religion also, like for instance, when these religions are brought here, the purpose were brought for exploitative means or reasoning. They weren't brought here because they wanted us to behave well, but they wanted us to calm down so that they are able to exploit most of our resources here. And which was very successful for them because you couldn't fight a foreigner who has come actually to exploit your resources because they are so dear. That's why you find so many churches, like more especially like the Catholic churches and Protestant churches, have big chunks of land. They didn't buy this land. They just acquired it, convincing people like that you know, trying someone to and then let's acquire this piece of land. So sometimes ebintu bingi ebituleetera okulowooza n'okusalawo mu ngeri ez'enjawulo because ng'abantu bwe tulina okuba gambye eddiini ekola kinene nnyo and the culture does almost the same. Njogera naye bagamba nti waliwo culture esatukiza kwogera bintu bya buwemu naye ng'osobola obyogera ngiti kirina kubeerako naye lwakuba nti culture ekugambye bagamba culture egamba tetukiza kuwumula. But sometimes we always about so that is probably how I look at things myself. Okay. Thank you so much.
Not a meaningful life. Encircle it and say, Jagala Kubanga, Jagala Muganda. I have my friends who feel proud because their parents were a certain tribe and they also limited their life. In the Sisola Wagala Muka's what? I can't associate with this. In the Jagala Kulembera, what tribe were, and then they limit. But that's not reasoning, that is indoctrination. Baba Bakula's and Shecho. So basically, Nechitu Chusa. And what Mr. Samba Tambira has brought, it is exactly what was here. The first says, why are you here? Where are you? Who are you? Are you going to live as that and that? So at the end of the day, it loses out meaning. How many people here are living in tandem? Okay, go there. You're not getting a way somewhere, Sanga tribe. I want to behave like my own tribe, and I will work and operate my operation system as a tribe or a religion. That's how we are created. But then when we live in a metropolitan, for example, here, then your brain will tell you, oh, I can live with a Munyankole. I can live with a Mutolo. I can live with a Msoga. I can live with a Munyarwanda diversity. But then it takes a brain to start devising means on how are you going to relate with those people. And at the end of the day, your brain or your reasoning will grow beyond those circles, the culture, tribe, and what. If we are inviting people, we are calling people here, gamba, and it one is same one of what. We are blind by tribe, blind religion, tribe. So This is you read this. It said most men. This is I think paragraph 6. Most men spend their men means long literature was designed sometime men to mean both. Most men spend their days struggling to evade three questions, the answers to which underlie man's every thought, feeling, and action, whether he is consciously aware of it or not. Where am I? How do I know? What should I do? This is what she writes. What should I do? Then when she says feeling and action, some people say mpulira bulungi ngo yali wali. So some people live their entire life by feeling. Today someone told me mpulira bubi ngwa ow'ekibiina kino yagenda okuli obwerosi mba mpulira njagala kuva mu kyalo ekyo. It seems if that person wins the local council nga chairman, ono omuntu tagenda kuba na mirembe gyonna emyaka 5. Some people are not. There are people we have, and when they see someone or when you are them within, the sibera when you are them why. Niye kolera we komere eryo. Ne redefining the entire way of living and relationship. So something like that. So basically that is it. I would like to invite other people, but we have it. Bane buno mubuli anabuje Spain. Wali nyenyonyi. Oyinza obumisinga. Buchi oliako. So, and you that is what's up. What have you understood? Which reads?
You see unfamiliar vegetation outside. The second one. You see unfamiliar vegetation outside. It's like you get out of your father's home and face the world. So you see unfamiliar things. And there is air to breathe. The sunlight seems better than you remember it. So let me go to the point. You are struck by a sudden feeling. You do not look. You won't have to know that you are perhaps too far from the earth. So the earth here is home. And no return is possible as long as you don't know it. So what I'm trying to say, according to me, we kind of face some new things. So we are used to our parents providing everything, giving us this and that. But when we go to the world, you face some challenges. So in the fourth paragraph, now you begin to wonder why you have no desire to do anything. So when you're struck by a sudden feeling, or feeling fear, you are outside, you begin to wonder why you have no desire to do anything. Because you may say, I will do this, they will judge me by saying this and that. So it will seem more safer to wait for something to turn up. But it's better you tell yourself not to rock the spaceship. The spaceship is like your life. So now, according to the text here, we should know these three questions. Where am I? How can I discover it? What should I do? By the time we grow up, we should be able to understand those three fundamental questions, because they are the ones which govern us, the subconscious. The moment you know what you are, you can do anything. Nothing can stop you. And the moment you know how to do it, you have the plan. No one can misdirect you from the point. And the moment you know what you should do, you will always do the correct thing, even if they judge you or discourage you. But that's it. It's like programming your subconscious. Our subconscious is like a computer. It's more than a computer. What you put in is what gets out. It's like garbage in, garbage out. Choyingiza chechifuluma. That if you feed yourself with positive things, positive answers, as in to these three questions: what am I, how do I do it, and what should I do? You will always get a positive feedback.
Some people are living a life, a wishful life. Yeah, what the real city mugaga na changeda kuba mugaga. Nze kati nzipuse. Toina jontwala. Olambwange buli webuti. I will give you an example. I like Mr. Samba Tambira. He set his standard. Wakugamba, we are going to meet at this time, and you come 5 minutes past that time. You will not find him there. That's what he said. Wojowa Sam Ramko's appointments, Musikana sa Billy, Noja Billy, Nedajika Kumi, Tomusanga. And many people like, so I have my friends, the Sam, I know guess. But that is the standard, that is his philosophy. You rather don't expect things or just the sound. Some of us, we are like, if I live like Sam, Nengamba would just our bidding and you feel what? Some will not mind whether you were manager, whether you were MP, whether you were what. Or why you have a damn wagala kitchen. Once you come, but then some of us, our brain will tell us. But if Mr. Sun comes at a certain point, nza abadamu etage nnyo nindeke dakika 10 oba abere kutamuze zange. So we are like, naye nza amwetaga kanzikirize wadde tazembudde butuufu. But some is not living like that. Whether you are a manager, whether you are what, whether abadamu letere ekintu, he has set a standard of life. It works for him. For me, where I am, if I set that, okay, the book reading starts at 5. If we reach 5:50, over 5:30, when there is no one, we're crossing. Some will do crossing. For me, I say, na ye, bajagala nyoro zabafirwa, ofabagala tumanye to discuss it.
In order to, like, if you know the nature of the universe and the people you're dealing with, you can easily plan. Can for example, if you want to make a business, start a business, or you know kujja no kebera abantu kiki baagala, biki baleetaaze okuba nabyo oba biki you are missing in society is what you produce and you provide the people. Naye okumanya ebintu byonna to know what the universe is all about, you must know gwe who are you. Ekimbadde ngamba nti ekyo alinga yakimisingamuuko. The astronaut, at least he knew that he was an astronaut. But there are some people we live with nga tebeemanyi bo nga bo. On Sunday, I was in a circle. Nayinza okiikirira mami wange mu circle. Kati ize muntu atasirika nnyo banze rampa ekirowoozo kyange. So baali mu kuteesa naye nga buli omu ayogera. Nempanika omukono nembuuza ekibuuzo nti wamanya ddi nti okuze? Na buli omu alina okwansalinga ekibuuzo. Wamanya ddi nti okuze? Buli omu n'ansalinga okuggyako omwami omu eyaŋŋamba nze saamanya ndaba bulabi. Nemubuuza kati ebintu obikola otya, opulaninga otya? Naŋŋamba nze ebintu nkola bikole. Kati these are the people we are dealing with in society. Atamanyi nakumanya nti ekintu before you do anything you have to plan. Yeah, dealing with emotions. Bebana abantu kati nga waliwo omwami wa sports gwe baakuba mu kibuga ba boda. Oli agambye omubbi nimagwa ku muntu n'amukuba mpaka kufa. These are the people we are dealing with. Kati kino ndowooza kiva n'enkukuza y'omuntu ng'omwami ono we yagambye. Omuntu endowoozayo sina n'ongeri gye bajja bakuzaamu. Because osobola kubeerawo nga gwe nyini tonneezula nti oba oli mukulu oba oli mwana muto.
I have something I want to add on what my brother said. Tulina ebizibu okutegeera kwaffe sikwenkana ffenna ate mu butonde teri muntu musiru kubanga waliyo kibaita IQ yange eyinza okuba nga just an inquisitive person mbuuza nnyo awulira mubulere curious and I want to know this and that naye nga ate okureasoninga kwange sikwe kulungi ennyo so ekyo nakyo tuyinza kiteeka mu perception eno nti entegeera yaffe yanjawulo era twatondebwa mu ngeri yanjawulo entegeera ya mugabi mukola projects yusosopa ate samu ebisolusi byalimu byamizanyo bya bugayi na biki akati notundawo kya exposures zetuba nazo tukolera kintu kinene nnyo. Some of us we are not exposed era when we fail to get that exposure kulaba nga nenkola yaffe ebintu oluusi ebeera ya kyenyeji ebeera ate lokolevu ya kibogwe kubanga we don't have that exposure ejja mu bintu binyinza okubanga my academic exposure is totally different from mugabi esomera ku masomero ga kibuga esomera ku masomero ga kyalo nga nenga tondawo zambala nalwawo ziraba nga nemuzaza numa ku mugabi zimulumangako so exposure yaffe yonna ne bajja okwogera no mu bantu that's totally different. So we should also look at all those things and then maybe I think that is also my own other
nali ku kompo mu A-level nali mu 6 naninyi muntu mami's boy nga mama afuba okulaba nga akwa buli kimu ojja mugamba n'omukabira n'akwayo 5 n'akwayo zino naye lumu waliwo mooko awo second term mama yave waka yankola bukubiza simu nangamba ngenze mu kyalo waliwo ebizibu ebiguddewo naye ngenda kudda mu nnaku 2 ompeezayo ku transport naye nga ndekedde abaana waka 2 awe namanya nti kati nina olowooza ng'omuntu omukulu kuba n'abaana b'okulabirira
nyiza okuba nja yakwemaketinga mukwemaketinga olwo gye bujja nja kubako ekira kyenfunamu oba olyawo sometimes when we fail to okwezuula tubeera awo nga olaba nga atakuze because emeddwa okwezuula gwani kyolina okukola butya bwolina okikola nti bwolina okikola so sometimes something that is very crucial to look at.
According to my understanding, I've learned that there are paragraph 1. Yeah, I've learned that there are so many challenges we go through, but it's you to think about how you can overcome them. We have seen an astronaut when he knew that he has got a problem. He has found himself where he couldn't suspect him where to be. He had to think a lot how he can find himself in the right place. Known also, another example, there are so many drivers we have in Uganda here. Some are lorry drivers, some are taxi drivers, some drive buses. So when you overspeed, you can end up either causing an accident or entering into a forest. So it's you to think so much how you can overcome that problem and see how you can find yourself in the right position.
Paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Most men spend their days struggling to evade 3 questions. To me, what I can say here is, when you can wake up one day, you ask this, most especially the first question, where am I? You can't know where you are unless you know where you have been, where you come from. So when you get to know where you come from, you'll get to know where you are. When you get to know where you are, you can look up. I'm giving an example of, it's a true story, relying on this very paragraph. When we lost our mother at home, my little brother, we had some money, we collected some money and taking him to a certain market to buy him clothes. We traveled very long, but this boy reached at the door of a window and said, Baba, me, I will never put on a second-hand cloth. Eh? So can you imagine in that situation, you have collected that money, struggling, you want to buy him something because we didn't share the same dad and he was going back. But trust me, I've watched this boy grow. He has never put on a second-hand clothes. I don't know how God provides for him. I can't tell. But even he went ahead and opened up a shop of first-class shoes, clothes. But I think it's from the beginning in his mind. He believed it. I don't know how it happened. So when I read this sentence, it gave me that example of his life. So if we can one time choose something to believe in or to walk through, maybe somewhere, somehow things happen. That's all I can share with you, that story of my little brother.
It starts with you might claim. Have you reached there, page 3? You might claim, the paragraph. It says like this. You must claim, as most people do, that you have never been influenced by philosophy. I will ask you to check that claim. Have you ever thought or said the following? Don't be sure, nobody can be certain of anything. I think we just take Uganda, don't be sure. Nobody can be. Don't be sure, nobody can be certain of anything. Who can put that one in Uganda? Don't be sure. Eh? Yeah, no certain of anything. Let us say like that. And that is a common thing. Then he said, you got that notion from David Hume. Your statement of one notion. Yali David Hume. Gagamba, no. Tobera nnyo buli kintu nti ky'omanyi kikakafu. Tokkiriza nti omanyi Katonda oba gy'ali. Kuba tosobola kumanya kikakafu n'owa conclusion yonna. Many others abalowooza bwe batyo. Then she said, even though you might never heard of him, this may be good in theory. N'agamba wadde twamanya. This may be good in theory, but it doesn't work in practice. Mu Luganda ni asobola okiteekamu oba mu lulimi lwonna lw'osobola. This may be good in theory. Mu nkola. Ekyo ekintu kiri very common. Eyogera bwogezi nayo kyangu kyakwogera nayo kituukiriza. All those narratives, they cut across from different aspects. And that was, you got it from Plato. Omusajja yasookako kyogera. Kino kiyinza okuba ekirungi mu bigambo naye mu kukola si kyamu. Yali Plato. Then another one was, that was a rotten thing to do, but it is only human. Nobody is perfect in this world. Then newabayo omulala yagamba, that was a rotten thing to do, but it's only human. Tewali atuukiridde mu nsi eno. I think it is a daily bread. Tewali atuukiridde oli ne waakola ekibi kyonna. You got that from Augustine. Augustine y'omu ku bantu bannaddiini abaali basinga amagezi. St. Augustine yadefining ebintu bingi nnyo. Then it may be true for you, but it's not true for me. Ekyo nakyo ndowooza tukikozesa. Kikola gy'oli tekikola wange. William James yakyogera. Abantu abamu babeerawo nagamba agwe ekyo kikolera. Recently I was in Spain. They got someone who came in one of the meetings. N'asharinga ng'akutte banner. Skills gamba noogu. When they shared it to public, n'akirwanyisa kye yakoze. Banange saakikoze bwe nti, because clarity is not sure. Kyakola kituufu oba si kituufu. Is nowhere to be seen. So that is philosophy. Then lastly, which I want to leave with, was also Kant. Then there is this modern activist called John Dewey. Act first and think afterwards. Bameka abakikozeeko ekyo. Sooka okikole then olowooze oluvannyuma oba onejjusa edda. Sooka olumbe webinaagaana ogambe ya. Okay, invite me.
Si buli atunula nti alabye. Wadde ate nga buli alabye aba n'otunula atunudde. Gye tugenze tudisikasinga tugende kuyimbulira philosophy reason. When someone lacks a dialectic through which an idea or a reason can be checked, akakasa atya nti endowooza y'endowooza. That's one. Two, tekitegeeza nti omuntu asobola okubeera n'ebirowoozo ng'alaakinga endowooza nabyo byawukana. Palamenti eyinza okutuula entuula zaayo zonna. That's an illustration. Nevaayo nga mwana wattu erowoozezza kyemuyita idea, naye ate ng'erowoozezza bulowooza nti erowoozezza, kubanga ekyo gyekiri kikola. Abantu bangi balowooza oluusi nti balowoozezza naye nga kyebalowoozezza. Ekitegeeza nti omuntu aba n'endowooza ye taba na right ye to express to. Endowooza ziwulikikira ddala nga mwattu entuufu, naye nga mwena muvuddeyo mulowoozezza buki? Why? Buli lwe mulaakinga asana byo mwalaba kita a basis and a dialective ekyekinga kati nga tulowoozezza, kubanga ffe tukulinda kutuuka ku mugga. Endowooza y'omuntu tukitegeera ddi nti yali ndowooza nga guse ku mugga ku tageti y'ekituufu. Naye ne mutuula ne mulowooza nti ndowooza ne bamakirire bonna baguladuwesi bagendenga ne box of condoms. At the end of the day, no. Kakati wachekinze nga sirimu alinye nnyo. Muba temutuuse ku liver, temutuuse ku kitegeeza those people lacking a dialectic to check the. Naye muto philosophy passe kyeki. Mulindowooza philosophy yandibadde ensibuko kwe tugalamiza endowooza nga yo tekyuka wabula eyamba ne ku ndowooza yekyeki endowooza nti kakati naawe mulamu.
Ebintu ebimu mu philosophy tebigenda faana. Muzungu bagamba there is no one size fit for all. Nga wolaba Saamu obudde ye bumukolera obukwata, naye abamu babeerawo ng'agamba nze nja kwadijustinga. Kakati katudde ku happiness. Saamu kyalese kya happiness. I'm a believer. There are some people bonga bo abazuula ebintu separately nga bo bibakolera as individually. Waliwo oli agamba nze wenkuba mukyala wange empi nga tuli mukwano mpulira bulungi, omulala n'agamba oyo mulalu. I'm speaking this from ebize by'ekisi. Akaaba atya onanga mpulira omukazi nga akaaba mba mpulira bulungi. Sometimes it can be a disorder. Omulala n'agamba nze mukwano gyange gye nsinga okwagala mirenzi ng'ate muwala. Oyo ne kulwaki onayagala nnyo abalenzi baba nabo. Omulala mikwano gyange miwala. They are disorder. Then it's a very big contest. From my faith perspective, it is wrong. And I call it a disorder and people not knowing what they want. Abagenda ne ebibito byamona bichogerako conversion. But God created a person namuwa mind, and the mind is adventurous. Newe batugamba, she brought about, how do we know this? Yine engeri gye tugetingamu knowledge by observing okukiraba. That's number one. Number two, by feeling. Also, when kikwatako ne kiyinjo kya kijja kukola ki? Eyokusatu eri kijolamu? Experience of others. Nekirala nti okay, smell. Senses zonna zituwa knowledge Katonda ze yatuwa. Ekirala je tufunamu gundi yagendayo ne kimuwokya. Experience. Yengeri je tufunamu knowledge. Waliwo abala bagamba nze nfuna knowledge buli lwendo nga gye bali. Naloose ng'ekibuga kyonna kirokose n'atandika omulimu. Pastor Mutebi abamumanyi yagamba yeebaka n'aloota nga ntebe yonna yiye paka kati anoonya buli gula buli wamu. Ne bwe yazuula n'asema nti sobola gula owamu agamba ntwalawo by force waakuliraana nga yeeyongerako ku kibanja kye, kubanga ye agamba ekirooto yose Mukama ye yakimuwa nti ntebe yonna waloota nga Mukama agikuwadde. Kati ye mu reality yalooza kyagenda gula ntebe yonna abantu babe bapangisa be. Okikola okikola anti byonna kwekebeza. Sigambye nti wekebeza ki. gwaleeseemu n'okirondamu kyoyagala kyosinga okutya kati oli ajjayo kyasinga okutya lwe lubuto ye lwasinga okutya tatya kakati kyekyo kyegambye nti okikola n'olowooza oluvannyuma kati ebiswanka yakikola ne kati saa zino lwaba nti oli omuwala teyali standard ye so sometimes it's like that but what I would say Katonda yakola amateeka waliwo natural laws esifuga wokuba omuntu n'omutta afiira ddala wobba ekintu ky'omuntu omuhaminga then wokula wozaalibwa bwoti ogenda kukula otuka ekiseera ofe tokirinaako control naye ekyenjawulo kyekiriwo obwongo how am I going to survive okusurvivinga ne difference mu bulamu yo tugifuna by reasoning waliwo leero agambye sijja genda kukola edi tekinkolera nnyo abera agamba kangene nfuna amagezi ago ndabe kikye naagagattamu ekyo kiri pasono kakati kyova olaba abantu abamu batugamba for those let me give you an example wosaba emirundi 5 kampe dini ya oba okukkiriza kwange woba osaba n'obeera mu kyaki biki obeera osemberedde okukola ki okuba ow'empisa naera bakusuubira nti ogenda kuba wampisa naye ate in reality okubeera frequent mu kyaki n'empisa zo tebikololating olumu wabula ekikuleetera okuba different yengeri gy'otegeddemu philosophy eyo n'ogirifyinga. Some people are living in a fantasy world. Anyumirwa kuba jjajja yasabanga n'asaalanga naye ayagala akikuume. Tekirina nnyo ombuuza lwaki oli mu ddiini eno yeeyowaka. Olinamu amazima go ekukolera ne weeba tenkolera yeeyowaka. Kati oneye ndowooza ye. Kakati reasoning wejja tudibetinge oli amugambe ntegeeza nti ddala bufere. Kakati oba okukkiriza. So basically what I would like to say. Question. Ebintu bino bihaminga waliwo Katonda byakola nga bino okuba wogenda samwa yogedde ku ensi wegenda ekyuka abantu basuula oli nalooza eddembe essanyu lyange liri mu kwagala musajja na musajja. Go and study olabe gye bamalira because in nature natural laws tokyusa wokyusa natural laws odifying ebimu neero ogenda kukola repercussion. You end up changing laws ezitagenda kyuka nti bwe weebaka n'omuwala woba oli ki n'omuwa olubuto whether oyagala oba toyagala toyagala leero sirwagala mukama kanebake nesigenda ddumuwa ng'osabye oba Katonda akwaga. Kakati abamu we tutakwatayo n'agamba ya mukama ampulira olaba terwazize kansoke nga musaba ngende. Eddiini sigenda kyogera bwenjo naye tujja kipuluvinga later time. So basically obutamala budde nze nganze sagala gamba we are not to impact mwami ziwa yagambye impact n'okuteekamu ekintu. One of the things kyenwanyisa mu bulamu bwange and it's not going to be easy kwe kwejjako ebintu bye ba impactinzeemu nzuule ebyange reasoning eyo nera every day when I okay, that is also another thing we can debate. Or limit is just a kind of communication. But what I'm trying to say, chengezako kwogera sija kwogera kino nti ki waliwo gwe bye weezuulira nga Samuel yazuula nti kunze obudde bukola bulina amakulu ne buzuula nti bwe buti ne bwe buti naye tebugenda kukola buyinza obutakola kyekimu n'oyo. So abazungu badiscovering engeri gye babeeramu emunfu emuntuufu naffe abaddugavu ne tudiscovering nabo balina bye batukoppako. Kati abantu abakozesa reasoning kyovulaba omuzungu yagenda n'akola ennyonyi nga ffe tetunagikola esitula abantu ne tugitwala ekintu ekisitula abantu 3 mu bbanga tali special ne yadigging obwongo bwe. Kati we tukitwala tuba tetututte ekintu kya muzungu wabula tuba tututta abagezi nga tulabye nakkala oyo yawaayo n'athinkinga hard n'akola kino na inventinga. Kakati naffe gye tulina okwebuuza one of the thing I'm writing on is relate. How do we relate with each other? Woba ogenda kozesa logic no relating ne error. Osooka ne weebuza njagala tukwatagane tutya ne error. Biki bye njagala okwachivinga. Kati emotions we zikutwala nokyusa diversion yo waliwo byofiirwa. And I don't want to judge the world based on color. Ofuna ebiri short term nebiri long term weina okudefininga. And sometime ogenda okulaba nga otandise okulira ensonyi ayasharinga nga kino nekino. If you don't have confidence nekijja. So sometimes we have to ask ourselves, tutabebimu ebiri bwano. It's not because it is ngenda kubeerawo nti obulungi ekimu ogenda kifayininga gwe wekka ozuula amagezi go ogawandiikeko. Bw'otagawandiikako ogaleke, bw'ogawandiikako abalala bagazuule. So my conclusion is, as I agree, Ayn Rand kye yagamba, ebintu ebimu bwe tukozesa obwongo ffe abasooka bizuula bw'osobola okyezuulira. I will give you an example. 4 days back, I went to a certain function. Nga waliwo a person we are competing with, Mwami Luchamuzi. Ne batutuuza wamu. Omukyalo omu najja nkuba akaama totuula n'oyo sitaani. Era tomubuuza. Nangamba ngenda mulekanira muvume ku lwaki yakubba akalulu. Njagala okudriving a narrative. Olw'okuba oli yalaba wasuubira tiyabba obuwanguzi bw'omulala mu bitali bituufu. Kakati ye mu relationship ye yakulozinga era wamulaba ayina muvuma buvumi. That's how radical she is. Then for me, because I don't want to be enslaved, ebiganye bigana nebigena. Namugamba, no, I'm not going to cry. Sigena muvuma. I respect it. And then deep, I understand. Every attempt you make in life, some go through. It's not a matter of and for me who studied political science, I know there are two means. You either become a leader by a vulgar way, then you change and become a good leader. But you either become a leader by means. Socrates yagamba means nkulu zofukiddemu ekintu. Omulala, one of the greatest political scientists, Machiavelli, nagamba the end justify the means. Sifaayo bambuse emirambo emeka naye nze afuga oba ekibuga kyonna kigenda ku muliro. Those are the two governing concepts of power. Kakati ne manyi nti oli yatutte power by hard vulgar means. Then you have to go and build infrastructure as winning by good means, as that Socrates. There is no way how you are going to get there. So basically that is it. But to conclude this, I want to say that to inner reading groups, I think I will give Joram to conclude, but there are all over the world, there are many groups reading. They are not reading to indoctrinate, but to inner dean. We are not reading to become masters, but to undermine those who are not believing or who are not changing. We are just discovering our own experience. Ekitakolera tochitwala. Echikolera chitwale. So it's personal discovery and it's a personal journey. And there is no ideology we enforce on a person. It's like a dini tebagikaka wekunyumira ng'ogiyingira. Gw'owulira ng'okooye ng'ovaayo ng'odda mu ndala. Banzalira mu Protestanti mba mpeza emyaka 10 ne ngamba muzeeyi eyo Wambowa. Okay, leka ngwe ngamba Wambo. This is my journey. Ne ngamba Wambowa. Ne mala omwaka nga sisaba. Ne nzuulwa church eri okumpi. Ne ngamba banyumira bayimba babukabuka. Bakuba ebidongo. That was my interest. Then nzuulwa nti ekirala. Katonda bamudiginga deeper. Exactly. Nesijja gamba ate gwe naawe lyekkubo lyobotwa gwe weebuuze bajajjawo bataano bakakuuma obusiraamu gwalina obukuuma paka ku mwana wo. Omwana wange wanaayagala ossalawo and this is what I do akeera nagamba saagala kusaba simukaka kubanga eggulu lyagenda okugendamu bamu.
We are going to be studying some of the branches of philosophy. I think I had talked with John to first discuss ethics and Pisa. John Nagama, let us start with the definition. I request next time, maybe we shall get a book, everyone goes with a book. And we study, next time we study ethics, maybe, or we continue and complete this, which I think we shall complete. But Hassan, before concluding, Hassan said, how do we know the truth about something? We are going to study the whole topic about that. It is called metaphysics. Existence, or the nature of existence. That things exist. You can see them with your eyes, that this cup is this cup. You cannot change it. When you look at it today, it's when you look at it tomorrow. They say A is A. A is not B, but A is A. It will remain the same. It exists when you look at it, and when the other Mr. Antonga, you look at it, it will remain in the same shape. That is metaphysics. It talks about the truth about existence, about the truth of some things. So we shall be talking about that. It's a big, whatever topic. So this group, majorly, the goal is to acquire knowledge. To acquire knowledge that matters and that which does not matter. To acquire knowledge that has worked and we use it or we replicate it. Or study the knowledge that has not worked and leave it. You get it? This is the purpose of this group. And today, as you go home, you need to understand that we've discussed a topic we discussed philosophy from Ayn Rand, which is Objectivism. Ayn Rand, Objectivism. And Ayn Rand says, for your take home, ask yourself, how do you want to live your life? Why do you want to live life like that? Should I do this thing? Why am I doing it? You need to ask, you need to program your life based on your values. Olitaja kusaba muwogo gwo gusigaza gumu n'ogamba kangumu wenge ngene enfwe. Ayn Rand agamba tokkiriza kufa gwali na sembayo. Okitegeera? Gwali na sembayo values zo zezina kusooka waggulu ku mwanjo na proposing naye obwo bazo prioritizing. Obba banno tota banno